Professor Wergel's here. We just started our EC2 instance. We're going to connect to it now. You'll see it's running. I need to select the server and I'm going to click on connect. Now, if you're on a Windows machine or if you're on a Mac, things will become a little bit different here. But if you're on a Windows machine and you use GitBash or PowerShell, you can run a lot of the similar commands as I'm running here. Now you'll notice here, it says open an SSH client, locate your private key, run this command. So you need to change the permissions to 400. You need to know some basic information about permissions. So change mod 400. You need to know these digits. They're very important. If I look it up, we do 777 a lot in this class because we just open the permissions wide up. A lot of times that's not a good idea for production. So it'd be better to actually know what's going on. And on Windows, a lot of the times if you need to change permissions, you can do that with a GUI. You can do it with a GUI on Mac as well, but Mac has terminal and that makes it nice and easy to use because you can actually paste Linux-like commands. So you'll see the first is for the file owner, the second is for the group, and then the last number is for everybody else. So if I did 777, it's going to be wide open for the world. Now you'll want to read about this. So change mod, I did 777. You can actually just look up Linux. They have some good articles here. I just kind of picked one. It talks about ls-l. You need to know some basic command lines. So you'll see the first 3 characters on the file corresponds to the first number. So that would be read and write for the owner, read and write for the group, read for the world. So you have 3 digits for each corresponding character, each corresponding number. So you see read, R is for read, W is for write, X is for execute. Dash, dash, dash means no permissions. Read, write, execute means full permission. So this is a 7. So if I do 777, it'll be read, write, execute for the owner, read, write, execute for the group, read, write, execute for the world. And you just need to know some basic Linux-like commands. So as we go through, we're going to learn more of them, but you'll see we just need to follow the directions here. So change mod 400. So 400 would be read for the owner, no permissions for the group, and no permissions for the world. They actually have a numbering system. Okay, so if I keep scrolling down, they should talk about the numbering system. Here it is. So 0 is no permissions, 1 is execute, 2 is write, 3 is write and execute, 4 is read, and then you basically add them up. So 0 is no, 1 is execute, 2 is write, 4 is read. So if I want write and execute, it would be 1 plus 2, which equals 3. If I want read and execute, it would be 1 plus 4, which is equal to 5. If I want read and write, it would be 2 plus 4, which is 6. And if I want read, write, and execute, it would be 4 plus 2 plus 1. So that would be 7. Okay, so they have a numbering system here, and you should know this numbering system. You don't need to know all of them. As long as you know read is 4, write is 2, execute is 1. Okay, which they're all divisible by 2. So you just take it in half, 4, 2, 1, and then 0. I mean, if you know 4, 2, 1, you can calculate all the others. So coming back to the instance here, I need to change mod 400. So 4 is for read. For the owner, that's the first digit on this key pair file, and then I can SSH to it. So if you click Command Spacebar, use Spotlight on Mac, you can search for terminal. If you're on Windows, you'll use PowerShell or GitBash. If you want to use PuTTY, you can. I have a video to connect PuTTY, and you can actually follow my previous videos on Windows. So if you're on Windows, you need to go over to the Windows videos. The only difference is we're using a Ubuntu instance. So before you go over there, you can follow my videos to the T. The only difference is change it from EC2-user to Ubuntu. Okay, that's the only difference between the videos that were posted before and the videos that are posted now. The username is changed to Ubuntu. Okay, so make sure you modify the user to Ubuntu. So if you're on a Mac, you're going to CD to where that key pair file is. So I'm going to CD to my 2830 directory. If I do an ls, you'll see the key pair file is here. If I do an ls-l, so ls is for list, -l is for long. So give me all the details. You'll see this key pair file here is read write for the owner, read for the group, and read for the world. So it says I need to change it to 400. So if I change it to 400, it'll just be read for the owner and no permissions for everybody else. You notice this has a D, which is for directory, and this does not. So this is a file and this is a directory. So I'm going to run the command that it asked me to run. I'm going to do change mod 400 on my 2830 key pair file. If I do an ls-l, you don't have to type it again. Click the up arrow. It memorizes all your commands, so you don't have to type them again. So I hit up twice, hit enter. You'll see the permissions did change. It was read and write to the owner, read for the group, read for the world, and now it's only read for the owner. Now the owner is this first one here, Wergely's N. That's me. The group is staff. So when we get to 4830, we actually set this up. We have the owner and we have the group. We set up groups. We create user accounts. We add them to the group. That way you can have an owner of the project and also a group working on it. Maybe the owner has read, write, execute. Maybe the group just has read and write, depending on what project you're working on. So you can set up different permissions for different files and different directories. Now that it's correct, I can run the command. If I go back to what it was, so you can calculate this. So this is read and write. So this will be 6, this will be 4, and this will be 4. So if I change it back, you don't need to do this. I just want to show you the error message that you get if you try to SSH without changing these. So there's the previous permissions. If I copy this SSH command and try to SSH, you need to SSH from the same directory your key pair file is. So if I try to run it now, you click yes. It's saying, hey, I'm connecting to this server. I haven't connected to it before. Are you sure you want to connect to it? Do you trust it? Yes. You'll get this message here, unprotected private key. So if you see this message, you know you do not have the correct permissions on your file, and it actually tells you right here. So if you ever get error messages, read the error message. It tells you exactly what's going on, permission denied, until you change the permissions on the file. So I'll do a change mod 400 like we did before. And now when I do this SSH command, make sure you're in the same directory as your key pair file. So how do I know this? If I do an ls, you should see the key pair file. So ls is list the contents of the current directory. On Windows, it's usually dir, but if you're in PowerShell or GitBash, you can also use ls. So I'm going to do my up key. I'm going to SSH again. So I'm SSHing, which is port 22. Remember that port. It's going to be on an exam. I'm including the key pair file. And we put quotes because it could have spaces, although mine doesn't, so it probably doesn't need the quotes. I'm SSHing into this server, EC2, using this username. So I'm SSHing into Ubuntu at this DNS. Now, this DNS corresponds to an IP address. So this is like a web domain. So like when you go to facebook.com, it actually goes to that server's IP address. So this is the free domain that Amazon gives you. It's your EC2 domain. So if I click on enter, I've already added it to my file. I clicked on yes before. If you are doing this for the first time, you'll get this message again. Are you sure you want to continue? You'll click yes. And now once you see Ubuntu, you know you're on the server. You're on Ubuntu at this IP address. If I click exit, you'll see now I'm back on my local machine. So if I go back to SSH, now it's green. It says Ubuntu. I know I'm on the server. So now I've successfully connected to the server on Amazon AWS. Okay, so now after I've connected to the server, I'm ready to install the LAMP stack. We're going to get into that in the next video. So stick with Professor Wergely's, and we'll see you in the next video.